she give you the countdown, or do you do the countdown?
She normally gives us the countdown.
5,
Oh, there it is.
4, 3, 2.
We are back in the studio. Welcome to Fading Suns Thursday. I'm JM, your GM, and with me is the crew of the Oh Boy. We have a full house. Well, sadly, not a full house. Since we've been back in the studio. Sadly, Hank the Tank will not be joining us anymore, and you will just have to imagine what Frank looks like, really, and what Frank will be doing in any given scene. But
We could just get a stuffed dog and throw it at Lee.
I do feel like that. Or we could
Yes.
buy like a stuffed octopus and a stuffed dog and tear them apart and reassemble them in some sort of
Oh gosh.
octopuppy.
But he's not the
Chthonic
octopuppy.
pop.
Frank was the other one. The octopuppy was Alestros.
The
Was
caninopus?
Octavius.
I don't like that word.
You're the one who made it.
So tonight, what we are doing is we are going to be doing a question and answer session. It kind of gives JD, our producer, who is back in. I almost said the closet under the stairs.
But it's true.
She's back in our. Sorry, JD. She's back in our producer booth. And so we have a ton of questions. Please send more if you are in the chat. We will be answering questions about Fading Suns, about the characters, and about the campaign tonight. So I'm going to jump right in here. And let's go with...
Let's go.
I've got so many questions here. All right. So
Gotta resurrect all the hashtags on the table.
does Perpetua have any lingering side effects from being disconnected from her body? Lily, do you feel like Perpetua has any side effects that we have yet to explore?
I think, so we touched on the PTSD from Underground. I don't think that there's any, we haven't explored that yet.
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like there are side effects. Some of them are linked with the fact that she can still see Father Bell when no one else can. There are issues. So, symbolically, Perpetua has passed through the underworld and come out the other side, right? That's what happened on Phlegethon. That's what happened when her body was, like her spirit was separated from her body. So, right, in any good mythological story, that has inherent consequences. She has come back from the underworld with knowledge gained or some other thing that's happened to her. So we'll explore that. Oh wow, we have just a ton of great questions. All right.
Q&A. I'm getting
Quick.
grief because I don't have battle buns.
Quick,
I'm
put
like,
your battle
"What's a
buns up."
Q&A?"
Put your battle buns up. All right, we're just gonna go in order. I apologize to anyone whose name got bumped to the end of the list. I will try and scroll up and back, but we just have so much stuff. So here's a question from Restar. We're gonna do two Restar questions back to back. First one is directed directly at Maddie. How religious is Gemma? Is she kill the infidel religious, or?
Calypso would say yes.
I don't think Calypso wants the answer to be yes after what happened in the last arc.
No, if Calypso thinks the answer is yes, Calypso has not spent enough time with Gemma.
It was a joke.
Oh, I know. I'm just. No, I think Gemma is trying to figure out. This is hard to. I can't do both.
I'll save the next question directly
Great.
at you until after you get
Great.
your.
No, I think she's trying to figure that out. I think she grew up in the monastery. She's grown up with the church, but it's been Beatrice who's really awoken more of that sense of understanding and fulfillment's not the right word, but sense of purpose within the church. So the
Yeah.
faith was always there, but Beatrice has kind of reignited that. Shout out to Beatrice, Nebraska. Drove by that this week. Yeah.
To all of our fans in Beatrice, Nebraska.
Hey, that was just for you. Yeah.
It's not pronounced Beatrice.
Well, in my head it is.
What is it
So-
actually pronounced?
Yeah, how do you actually pronounce it?
That's fair, but it's Beatrice.
Well,
Ooh.
the sign looks like Beatrice, so.
To all of our fans in Beatrice, Nebraska, you're pronouncing it wrong.
Seriously, I like was driving and I freaked out because I was like, I found Beatrice! I had a moment. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Okay. All right, so this one's for everybody. This one's again from Restar. So, when you are building a character, and as we kind of explained with Fading Suns, it's not a life path system, but there's a series of decisions that you make, like what class was your character from? Is it are they a noble? Are they a priest? Are they merchant? Are they yeoman? And then you kind of keep dialing down, and every choice that you make, from capability to all of these other things, they tell you a story about who your character is. So the question is, when you build a character, are you an engineer or are you an actor? Do you come up with I think the meaning of the question is, do you come up with the personality and build the character around that, or do you create the character mechanically first and then go back and apply the personality? Becca, as our literal engineer at the table.
Yeah. Sure. I'm trying to remember how I built Jexa, and I really can't. With Runner, I feel like I want to make a Vorox. Well, what, class works with a Vorox? Oh, sweet, there'll be a bounty hunter, and yeah, went from there. I feel like with Jexa, it was also oh, I want to be a mechanic, the mechanic on a ship. How do I build that? I think that's where I make my characters, is I have the concept and then I make everything fit into that concept.
Do you feel that the second character was more engineer? Like you knew how the system works, so you were able to pick the choices that you want?
Probably. I think I'm trying to ignore what's happening at the table, and it's
Welcome back
so
to the studio.
easy. I know, right? Sitting at my own desk by
Still a
myself. You're the disaster that is loved.
I couldn't put buns in my hair and answer your question. Hey, look, I'm pretty even.
Yeah, that's
pretty good.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's like I've done it. A lot.
It's fine.
So now that I can totally focus on the question and not on what my crewmates are doing, I think the second character, I knew kind of where I was going, and I knew what I wanted to put into shoot and what I wanted to put into dex and what I wanted to put into all the skills and capabilities and stuff, because I knew what I needed. Versus with Jex, I was like, this looks cool. She has a multi-tool. That's her left arm. It's metal.
Alice and Lily, what about you guys? Are you more actor character designers, or are you more engineer character designers? Or are you more kid in a candy store character designers? Ooh, this one's cool, and I want this one, and I want this one.
Yeah, I can go ahead. I think for me, I definitely start with the character concept I want and the personality I want. So with Val, I had a very clear sense of who she was as a person, what her personality traits were, what she wanted, and then from that, I kind of just sat down and started a long text conversation with JM about how to build the character I wanted, and kind of picked what I wanted from the rules to kind of make it work with her personality.
Cool. Lily, now you've made two. You've had, no, you've only made one. You've just had Perpetua this whole time, so. when you make characters, how do you
so
approach?
we talked a little bit about this for the last Q&A. You, JM, actually picked most of the characteristics for Perpetua because we were trying to do it on Discord.
Yeah.
So I picked a lot of the background, and then you just kind of picked the skills for me. But the way that I pick characters in general is I ask what roles everybody else is playing, because I feel like I have joined the games kind of late usually, and I don't want to pick somebody. I don't want to be in conflict with somebody who's already picked, a really cool, well thought out character. And so I'll fill a gap that I think there is in a group.
Okay.
So I would say more engineering,
All right.
less actor and more.
Lee and Maddie, anything that you want to add into that?
I'm gonna be real honest, chat.
Oh no, honestly.
Honestly, time. But
Everybody's favorite.
JM made Calypso, and the way it worked was I simply sat down across, I think, his dining room table, and I went, I want to be a pirate who is a mix of David Bowie and Han Solo, and he went, hold my whiskey.
That's right. And that's how Calypso started.
Yeah, so I filled in with the personality, but that's how that went.
Normally I'm the actor. I'm thinking of the Air Genasi druid I made for another game. No, actually, Gemma was handed to me, so I've actually grown into Gemma.
Yeah, you actually, it came down, we were getting ready to go live. I think we had played a little bit, and I was like, hey, are you free tonight? And you were like, sure. I'm like, I need a tank for tonight. And you played Gemma, and it just worked out. Your schedule then suddenly opened up. I'd like to think it's because of how much she loves Fading Suns, but
Yeah, because normally I don't, much to the chagrin of everybody who plays with me, I don't play the tank.
No, you
I
don't.
play the super squishy.
you played the super squishy glass cannon. So this one's from Ben. So Ben, yes, first of all, I will make a RPG restar called Kid at a Candy Store. I'll just, maybe we'll do different colored D6s. I don't know. I'll percolate about that. But,
Big dice collection finally has a purpose.
So somebody who has never played Fading Suns before asks kind of what's the general explanation of the mechanics. So it's always an attribute plus a skill. I think that's what they're called. Hold on. Characteristic plus skill. But what's neat is the GM, there is a recommended characteristic that pairs with every skill. But the GM has flexibility to switch that up. So I'll sometimes, I think I've had Jexa make a wits plus shoot roll to figure out what the noise, what type of gun was being shot, because she has points in shoot, but that's really not a dexterity plus shoot roll. So you get to mix and match them, and that sets your target number. So if you have an 8 in intelligence and a 3 in shoot, you need an 11 or less to succeed on the roll. And if you hit exactly the number you need, that's a critical success. A 20 is always a mishap. And what you roll, if it's successful, converts into victory points that you then spend for effect. So in the case of shooting, if you hit somebody, you hit them if you succeed, but you may not be able to overcome their armor. And so that's what the resistance of the test is. The resistances go from 0 to 14, I think. 0 to 14. And you have to spend that much victory points to actually overcome the resistance of the roll. So easy rolls are 0 or 2, kind of standard rolls are 4 to 6, and they kind of go from there. Sometimes they're blind. You don't know what you need to overcome someone when you shoot them the first time. But then there are other times where I'll be like, oh, Jexa, I'm going to pick on Jexa because Becca
This
sits.
is what happens when you sit right here.
Yep.
Is
You know,
that why Jexa has a demon in her brain? Because I sat right here?
no, there's a number of other reasons that Jexa has a
Normally
demon in her
it's
brain.
theirs.
Another question, is holy armor uncomfortable?
No, I don't know. She's been wearing it for most of her life, so I think she's more uncomfortable without it.
Yeah,
than
we
she
definitely
is
talked
with
about
it.
also the smell
There
on
is
the
no.
stream.
Look, this is new armor. New armor. No
That's
smell.
true, that's true.
The old one probably funky. This one's minty fresh.
All right, this question
Except
is
for the
from
dragon.
Jenny. What is the coolest thing that your character has ever done in the game? I feel like that's a great question. Thanks, Jenny.
There's a running list.
She became a saint.
I think, so it was early on, we were figuring out the mechanics, and I was finally kind of getting the feel for Gemma when she got struck by lightning 4 times and survived. So that was pretty cool. That was probably a highlight. Sorry, that was pre-stream, but it was pretty cool.
That's fair. Alice and Lily, let's jump to you. What, as sort of the newer members of the crew of the Oh Boy, what was the coolest thing that your character has done so far?
The skill that I like best for Perpetua is her ability to map things using her think machine and pick things up that way. And so like she's used that a lot to navigate the Oh Boy places, or I used it when we were after Antioch. I don't remember the name of the planet, but
In
we had
Phlegathon?
stopped and we'd gotten separated, and I used it.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're in a city.
Oh, on the
But I
asteroid
used it to
city.
nav
Yeah,
us back. Right. So I used it to nav us back to like where our team was without incident, and I really enjoyed that.
Awesome. Nice. What about Val?
Well, I did get to critically shoot a dragon and help Gemma kill it. So probably shooting a dragon, even though it lost me my leg. But you know, I still shot a dragon.
You did. You shot a dragon. Don't let anyone take that away from you.
Never.
We're gonna get you a sweet dragon tattoo. Sick.
Would she then be? No, I won't.
Yeah, no, I know
Thank
where
you.
you're going with
Thank
that.
you. And so to answer one of the questions in
Roll
chat, in Fading Suns, combat has always taken a secondary role to the social, the dramatic, and the interactions between the group, and then as the group travels through. Now, combat comes up, I would argue, sometimes because of
The
the
coolest thing that happened to me wasn't even filmed, and Calypso was on drugs.
well, let's just jump into that. What was the coolest thing that happened to you?
The coolest thing Calypso's ever done outside of, threatening to, do really weird things is she actually accidentally drugged herself because she came up with a plan on Milan Station, which is pre-streamed. What was it? She came up with a plan with bubble gum,
Yes.
the drug, and
Yes.
what was it, like a shoelace?
Can I need to preface this because we have to get into this party. We know that there are drugs there, and we're all going. We don't know what to do, and Lee goes, "I need bubblegum, I need a shoestring, and like 2 other things that were like totally random."
One of which being a vial of the drug
Yeah.
that Count
Yeah.
Orlaton was aerosolizing to
Yeah.
cause people
Yeah,
to
and
like
there's one more
experience
thing.
the party.
She was like, "I need 4 things,"
I don't remember.
and
Hold on.
she took them, and I was like, "Dude, Lee, what are you gonna do?" And she's like, "I don't know yet, but Calypso does, and that's what's important." So.
So basically what happened was Calypso put the drug inside the bubble gum because she was chewing the bubble gum to blow a bubble full of the drug to
Pop
make
it in the
to
face.
pop it into the face of Count Orlaton. And what she ended up doing was she accidentally pre-popped it. So I believe she had to swap spit with Count Orlaton to get the drug into
I
him.
thought you ingested the drug to blow into the bubble,
Uh-huh.
and that's how you got high. I didn't think you had to.
I
suck
thought
face
so,
No,
it.
too.
I had to put the drug
She-
into him.
Smashed it.
She did end up
I
I
got
know, I
real
had my
close
eyes
to his
closed.
kissing.
Yeah, you
Kissing
can just
Count.
hear the sounds of goats.
That's right,
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah.
Nah.
Don't
They
look.
were
Don't look
picking
near
It was a
me.
bad party.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that Alice is just sitting there with her head in her hands, like, why did I join this group?
I really wish that
I don't
those
know.
games had. I wish there was like a hidden camera
I'm real
somewhere.
glad we didn't record those. They got real weird.
It did get real weird.
Real weird.
What about Jexa? What's the coolest thing Jexa's done in your mind?
I don't know. I was trying to think about it.
Were you pointing to the shoulder light that she
Yeah,
mounted on your
she was
armor?
pointing to the shoulder.
I feel like
shoulder
that's
light.
just the bar really low for coolest thing she's done.
In Gemma's mind, that's the coolest thing
Okay,
she's
that's fair.
done.
It's the most. It's probably the single most useful thing Jex has ever done. The fact that Jexa like has collected a whole bunch of just stuff is pretty fun. I have an antique spacesuit. I have my motorcycle. I have my womp gun.
What are the other things you've been collecting for Viserion?
That's right. You've
Oh,
been
then all the
collecting
things that
boyfriends,
I collect. I mean, I did collect boyfriends. I have
a menagerie.
a menagerie, but one of them's missing. That's awkward.
All right. Well, speaking of Jex's boyfriends,
Oh, good.
Mark wants to know from everyone who is your
Yes, he does.
favorite NPC and who is your most hated NPC. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta share my the coolest thing Gregor did. I think was pre-stream. Well, my two favorite
Kotak.
moments was
Kotak.
when everyone discovered how cool Gregor's stepmom actually was. But also the fact that Gregor killed a zombie Vorox.
I was gonna say, I can't think of what the coolest thing Jex has ever done, but Runner, I mean, she ended up having 9 million legs.
Yeah,
and
that was
able
pretty-
to carry everyone
yeah.
to safety. So
That's right.
That was
That's right.
pretty cool.
It's pretty sweet.
All right, favorite and most hated NPC.
Oh, is Alexa your most hated?
Alexa? No. No. Doctor. So villains.
Yeah, give me. We'll start with you.
Okay, so Count Orleton was just cool. Dr. Finman was like super uncomfortable, just across.
Dr. Feynman.
Yes, with his experimentations on mermaid and creation and stuff. I did not enjoy those.
Yeah,
At all.
and then the ones that he killed, he did murder. Murder.
Murder. Yeah. Favorite NPC. Well, Gregor's not an NPC. He's part of the crew,
Correct.
right? So that doesn't really count. Well,
Are we
I've
saying
never-
not counting Gregor? Is
Yeah.
okay, sure.
Otherwise, everybody's answer is Gregor.
Yeah.
That's when Gemma died.
No, you've had some good ones. I mean, Viserion is clearly a favorite. However, oh, what's his name? The spy. I want to call him
Francisco.
Francesco.
Well, Jackson never really interacted with him. Like, she like ran into him once, and he was like, "Hello, sweet girl," and like walked past, and she was like, "Thanks." I really enjoyed all the interactions Francisco had with everyone else, especially Abby.
Poor Abby.
I know, right?
Anybody want to go next? This is what this is going to be, by the way, tonight, chat. It's just going to be us answering your questions and reminiscing about the game and talking about it. So,
You know, like we did a couple months ago.
My favorite NPC is Quaker's mom.
totally fair. She was a unexpected delight.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not really an NPC.
That's fine.
Philosophia.
Yeah.
Oh, Philosophia did some really cool stuff too.
Yeah, she did.
Sorry, Philosophia would totally have just dropped the S line.
You guys should definitely, if you have not gone back and watched Operation Raven Watch, you definitely should do
Was
that.
I Harmonia in
You
that?
were Harmonia.
Yeah.
I had to violently put you down. Yes.
She died violently, and it was like, I was like, JM, I want my character to just die.
I
It was
promised.
like, ooh.
I gave you what you wanted.
Somehow
Doesn't haunt
Philosophia
Gemma
is
at all.
fine.
It doesn't not.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm in charge of people now. Worst.
It's my favorite. Oh, I don't know. Villain probably Orleton. I just icky.
Oh yeah.
Or the dude who turned into the statue thing. And it was in Mark's stream. The come back to me. I'm tripping on my words.
Okay.
The one where you guys were in the mansion.
Yeah, the
And
guy
that I
who
wasn't
turned
there for?
into, yeah, the big
Mhm.
scary thing.
Oh yeah, he was a good one. Yeah.
Didn't like that.
Lily, Alice, do you have favorite or most hated?
This one.
And if you don't, that's fine. Like, here's the thing: not everyone has to answer every question. So
Oh yeah, I was also cat. Oh my
the next
gosh.
one's coming directly to
I was thinking about Cat too.
I've done
Alice.
so many characters.
Yeah. I don't have an answer. All of the NPCs that we had for, the Annals of Antioch were kind of short-lived. So
Yeah, that group did not collect NPCs. They left them buried in back alleys.
Everybody on Antioch that was kind of no, there was one. There was the rich lady on Antioch. She was all right.
Oh yeah.
yeah, she was good, but just not the same level of fondness as you would get for other games.
It's true.
Urkel. Urkel was my favorite.
Which one was Urkel?
The dude I rescued on with the beard.
Oh yeah.
He was pretty dope.
I remember him.
Hmm?
Yeah.
His name was Urkel, but I always just remembered him as Urkel.
Yeah, Philosophia.
Yeah.
I was totally there for that.
Yep. Yep.
All right, Alice. What about you?
I miss Nigel.
Right. Yeah.
He seemed like a lot of fun. I miss him. I hope we get to see him again. I don't know if he counts as an NPC because he's technically part of the crew, but every day I miss Nigel.
Oh. Did you have anyone that you hated?
Derek. Seems like that guy.
Derek definitely was the Derek of NPCs.
But he did.
He did.
He is dead.
He real did.
Occam's Razor asked, what happened to the body of Frank's first kill? The Hazat spy suckered and bludgeoned to death. Did he end up being dumped out the garbage chute again? I don't know. What did you do with Frank's first kill?
Didn't you? I thought you dragged it off and like dumped it in a bush.
Well, if I know Calypso, the answer is she probably ensured it was ground into meat and became food.
Ugh.
Soylent Green is people. All right, this one's for Alice. We have a question from Jenny.
Huh.
What is the connection between Val and Gregor? How did they meet? What is their history?
Ooh, Calypso
Do you-
would like to know.
Would you like to field this one?
Crew. So it's very much like a best friend, big brother type of situation. Like, Val's incredibly fond of Gregor and definitely has a lot of almost like hero worship for him. Like, she's always just like looking up to him, being like, wow, Gregor's awesome. So yeah, they just kind of grew up together. Great relationship as friends like that, and it just seemed like the natural kind of in for Val with the crew to be connected with Gregor. So when I was making my character, I kind of worked with JM a lot on that and like what kind of connection she would have, kind of how she would be able to integrate into the crew. And coming from Lemminkainen, kind of being a criminal type background, it just really worked out for her to be like best buds with Gregor.
You're a criminal?
Oh, shh.
What?
Like,
Oh, right. No one would ever have guessed that Val
Never.
might not be on the right side of the law.
Yeah, I don't know if Jaxa has quite figured it out yet. Like, she's smart, but I don't know that she's figured that out yet.
All right, so this one's for me. How different is it for JM to GM a game where he plays a beloved character? Are you saying I don't play beloved characters in other games? But
Well, in this one, we actively try to keep you, like, alive.
that's true. Gregor was a throwaway NPC. Gregor was my canary in the coal mine. I wanted to see how this group would handle a moral dilemma. They had just basically caused a cascade failure.
Shh, no, we didn't.
It
We
wasn't
did
our
not
fault.
cause it.
They were involved in an incident that caused a cascade failure on Milan Station. And they came to the Oboe, and there's this guy two guys trying to cut through the airlock to get on the Oboe to steal it and leave. And Calypso put one down with prejudice.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, well, here's the moment of like morality. And so Gregor dropped all his tools. He was like, listen, I just want to get off of here. And the group was like, fine, you can come with us. All right. I did not expect Gregor to become as vital of a member of the crew. I mean, we went through the hamper stage.
Yep.
The fish tank stage.
The fish tank stage. Calypso and Gregor? The chaperoning stage?
Yep.
Chaperone.
Chaperone.
Oh, Gregor has been the best. Just the best. Is Gregor capable of emotions as we know them?
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
feels them.
Yes,
He
Gregor
just doesn't know how to express them.
Yeah, exactly. Gregor is far more comfortable fixing the Oboe than addressing his feelings. Can there be a Frank Solo episode in the same way that Disney Plus has Maggie-only Simpsons episodes? God, I hope so.
I'm so down for this.
I don't know how we would do it. Listen, when we get to like
For people
$10,000 a month on Patreon, then yeah, we'll hire an animation team and make an episode of, Frank's day on the ship that ends with his first. Frank's first kill would be like the most adorable little Pixar short.
It really would. I don't know why Maddie's shaking her head.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it like rubs her in his neck?
Gemma does not let Frank in her room.
So this question
I'm
is
gonna
from
invest in this.
Lone Avi, I think is how I'm supposed to pronounce that.
I thought it was L1. No.
What
Sorry.
is
L3.
what is each player's favorite thing about another character or something that they do? So if you have to pick
'Cause I
one
love
other
you
member of
guys.
the crew,
Oh, wait. Only one?
one,
I
pick
was
one.
about to say what I love about everybody.
That's when we go for drinks after game.
No, this is what is L1AV has asked.
Yeah. Lonavi has asked this question, so we will answer it to the best of our abilities. You want me to go first, or you
Yes.
want to go?
I want you to go first.
You want me to go first? This is tough. Okay. I love the fact that Calypso is an agent of chaos and has now become an agent of chaos. Jex's innocence and the fact that the rest of the group works so hard to preserve it is delightful. The fact that I know Maddie personally, so I'm not going to lie, when I started this campaign, I seeded a bunch of different story arcs to see what someone would bite on, and I put a literal hologram of a female saint with a muzzle, and Maddie was like, time to go, and I was like, I love that. Like there are like still like 9 or 10 plot arcs that were on that station that you guys like, the Prophet's Heart, the smuggling
we worked
rings.
that one.
Yeah, there was you didn't. You guys picked the arc that you wanted to follow, and that was amazing. Val, I'm still getting used to, but I love Alice's deviousness when it comes to Val. The rest of the group has a very, up until that point, you guys have had a very, there's the goal, we're gonna shoot, run, or tech our way through it. And now Val's here and she's like, wait, but what if we, no one expects the oblique angle. And then Perpetua was so much fun to have in the Annals of Antioch because, again, all of these like really heady philosophical things are going on, and Perpetua is the one who's like, listen, I'm just here to draw maps. Can we just go to someplace new so I can draw more maps? And I'm like, that's delightful. That's like refreshingly grounded in the in-game universe. All right, now you guys have to go.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't understand L1AV's question.
Yeah, if I picked just one, you guys all would be like, oh, favoritism. So I just.
I just started panicking because I was like, I don't think this good.
If
So
you had to
pick
pick
someone.
one person
If I had to pick one person.
and their favorite and the favorite thing that they do, what would it be?
Okay.
Thing that you do.
Okay. Well, I, as a human being, Lee, not to be misconstrued with L1AV,
I have never seen Lonavi and Lee in the same Discord
Right.
channel at the same time.
Never.
So, nor have I seen Lee and Batman in the same
Right?
Discord channel at the same time. I'm just saying.
but Lee's favorite thing that Jexa does is get Calypso's blood pressure real high. I have to be super selfish here. My favorite dynamic is the one between Calypso and Jexa, and it's only getting worse.
You mean better? Wait.
Lots of question marks. Wait. So I think that's my favorite dynamic is just that, the uncomfortable, but also like the super tender moments. There have been some really good tender moments between the two of them. And so that's, I think, my favorite for my one person.
I wholeheartedly agree. All right, so then I'll choose one person. Okay, I have something for everybody, but I will choose one. And I'm going to say that, like, with Perpetua, yes, Perpetua holds a special place in my heart because Runner just adored Perpetua as well. I think Runner felt towards Perpetua what Gemma feels towards Jexa. Like, oh, this person will squish. Okay, come here. But Jexa and Perpetua, I've really enjoyed, especially in the last episode when Perpetua was like, Braxton, Calypso, get your shit together or else.
Right.
And I was like, yay!
Yeah. Perpetua is like very grounded, and down to earth, and matter of fact. Like, if you guys are having drama, she can't make maps.
Yes.
Can't do not one thing on this ship.
That's true.
Oh, I totally forgot that Jexa and Gemma met with Jexa hiding behind Gemma in an elevator as people were shooting at her. It started
Yep.
from the beginning. I have to say, the more I've gone back, because I was not really thinking clearly in the dragon fight, because let's be honest, I thought Gemma was a goner. I do, gosh darn it, have to appreciate Val's, I'm gonna go stand next to Gemma. And all of us are like, no! That is the worst possible idea.
Nobody stands next to Gemma.
No.
That's a
But
dead zone.
That's where you lose your leg.
Right?
Too soon. But
Too soon.
I appreciated it because like Val was there in the moment. She wasn't trying to overthink it. She just wanted to help. And so, Gemma really appreciated that, but also was like, stop! Go away! So, yes, I appreciated that.
Lily and Alice, do you have anything to add?
Alice, go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out who to talk about because I've got things for everyone, but I think the thing that comes to mind first is, like Perpetua's just so level-headed, which I think is incredibly important in this crew, because the rest of us are kind of just running around doing things. And Perpetua's like, no, stop it. Just focus. Which I think that aspect of focus and just being so level-headed is honestly probably what's going to keep us alive. So I super value that about her.
I think, again, we all like each other, right? Everybody has really interesting characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I admire the most about Calypso is she doesn't really look back. She's got eyes on the prize, like, I'm already here, and I can't change the past. So we're dealing with what is.
Yeah. All right, so this next chunk of questions is coming from Rook. So I'm going to ask 2 of Rooket's questions to everyone and pepper them with specific questions when you answer them. So,
Okay, neat.
questions for the crew from Rookcat. Rook, huzzah! Character's favorite food,
Oh.
and do you have a secret obsession? Does your character have a secret
I
obsession?
don't think
that-
Calypso's really
No.
secret at all.
Boys.
Well, okay.
Any secrets?
I mean, sure.
Val has secrets.
I feel like if I want to say Gemma's secrets, I'm going to need Jam to enter the cone of silence. Because anything, I don't actually have anything. I just feel like if I say something, he's going to use it against me later.
Right?
That's why you keep coming back to the table, I assume.
That's why I've told you nothing about my character.
That's fair. Well, there's a specific question for you because you're starting. How often does Gemma clean her armor?
No.
I'm going to ask the question.
As often as she would clean her sword.
Yeah.
So, like, it's going to smell because it's like hockey gear. You can only clean it so well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, her armor is a piece of her, so
Yeah.
she's always taking care of
Yeah.
it.
The
Favorite
longer you wear it, the more that becomes true.
Exactly. Favorite food, I feel like growing up in a monastery, Gemma ate pretty plain food, so if it gets too fancy, she gets too uncomfortable. She's like, there's swirls and gadgets in it, I just need something bland. And I don't know about secret obsession, I'd have to come back to that.
Okay, if you think of one.
You really want a rocket jetpack on your armor, don't you?
Or that a flamethrower. We've been talking about
Both?
flamethrower
Why not
for
both?
Boba Fett.
That's fair. We've been talking about flamethrower though since Limbus.
Where? That's true. You've been
So
talking
we
about a
have been talking about
flare. You know, there's only one person to blame for that. Jexo, you want to go next?
I have my answers if you're scared.
Go for it.
So, Calypso's favorite food is strawberries. The reason for that is because she spends all of her time, I've thought this way through, she spends most of all of her time in tin cans, basically. You cannot produce strawberries in said tin cans. And so when she's playing outside, she will always sneak off to get some strawberry Frasers because this actually kind of goes into something that I've never explained to anybody, but I think about Calypso a lot. She's my favorite role-played character I've ever played in my life, hands down. But she has a very strange obsession with like losing touch with humanity, and because she definitely feels like she teeters that line all the time. So if she forgets the taste of strawberries, yes, this was inspired by Tolkien. She feels that she would lose part of her community, so she always makes sure she gets strawberries every time she's playing outside. That's just her own private thing that I had canned that she's been doing whenever, what are we doing? There's downtime. Oh, she's going shopping. Strawberries. Yeah.
Now, so follow-ups for you. Does Mars own a red shirt? And estimate how many ruffled shirts does Mars own?
Mars does own a red shirt because Juxa gave her one.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Mars owns Calypso. She owns every color of shirt probably possible. She has no hidden obsessions. She wears her obsessions very
Just
there.
out there for the world.
Feathered hats.
I was gonna
If
say
you, had,
velvet.
if you had to estimate how many ruffled shirts does Calypso own?
Literally or figuratively?
Right? I mean, say
figuratively, we would assume
realistically,
that all of them would be thrown out except for the one.
realistically, but I think in terms of actual shirts that have ruffles on them, she probably only has about like 12.
Okay, only a dozen.
Okay, but how many like fabulous hats does she have?
50. Like, she's always in the market for new ones. She does donate the ones she gets sick
And
of.
fancy boots. Fancy
Yeah.
boots. Because we had a whole episode looking
We
for
did-
Didn't
we-
we have a whole episode looking
Yeah.
for fancy boots?
Yeah.
We had a
Yeah.
shopping episode
Yeah, there was a
that ended
shopping
up with
episode.
you being exploded, so yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got grenaded in the chest.
We never have happy endings.
Beach episode. I walked
Beach
down the
episode.
beach. I walked down the beach
Yeah,
and
it's
made
the
sure to
closest
walk
we've
down
ever
the beach.
gotten.
Val, Alice, does Val have any secret obsessions? Does she have a favorite food? Also, what is her favorite type of firearm?
Wow, Rook, asking the hard questions.
Asking the hard question.
Nitty gritty.
She likes dessert foods like cake, pastries, that kind of thing. Because growing up on the streets in Lemminkainen, you didn't really get that very often.
Mm-hmm.
So once she started acquiring more money, let's put it that way. Once she started acquiring more money, she just started buying dessert food all the time, every time she bought anything. So that's definitely her favorite food. Secret obsessions, maybe. We'll see.
All right.
We'll get there. And as far as like favorite firearm, she has a kind of revolver pistol that she's had for years that is just like, that's her go-to gun. That's her favorite. It's not what she shot the dragon with, but it is still her favorite.
I mean, that's the way to go. Lily, anything for Perpetua that you want to share before we get into, and these next several questions are going to be for Calypso and Jexa specifically.
Good, I don't have to share my secret obsession. Excellent.
You do. Okay. That's the
Perpetua's
start.
next, and then we're done.
No.
You were pretty clear. I think her favorite food is street food, so anything you can eat while wandering around and
Meat on a
exploring.
stick.
Nice.
That's very on brand. I
And
like it.
Yeah.
then
It's like, no, it makes perfect sense.
I think the secret obsession is maps, and that's not really a secret.
It's not a secret, no.
Right?
Secret obsession for Jexa?
Old tech.
Yeah, no, that's not so
It's not-
secret.
It's not secret at all. But I don't think Jexa is really a secretive person. There's always been someone in her head who knows everything about her, so why would she keep secrets from anybody? Her favorite food is probably like hard candies, because I imagine that she like.
Just imagining Grandma Butterscotch.
I mean, kind of, because like she'll then like suck on it while she's like tinkering.
Something to do absentmindedly.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
So yeah, she has little containers that are now empty. I'm sure Frank has like found like 6 of them.
Frank is currently building something with them.
Cool. I'm a little worried about what Frank has, because like yeah, she has all these random pieces that she tinkers with, and stashes in her locker or under her bed or something. And so yeah, her secret obsession, and it's not secret, it's just old tech and trying to find that new thing, but she doesn't know what it is. So she just tries things.
All right, so Restar asked, in the character building phase, was there any sort of benefit for having a dark secret? Or was Jex's so he's asking, like, was Jex's parentage reveal part of a dark secret? Do you guys want to share the story of how this happened, or do we want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I created Jexa, I was just like, oh, my dad is one of the guild masters of the
And I think I
education.
asked you in game at one point who your mom was.
And I said, yeah, and I never knew. She died when I was little, was what Jexa was always told. And thought maybe it had something to do with the fact that Jexa's left arm is all tech, and she's got all these little like 1-inch scars along the left side of her body. So like, was it an accident? Was it like some sort of vehicle accident or something? And like doesn't know. And then I don't know, did Calypso ever like know she had a family? Like when you made her, were you like, yeah, Calypso has a family?
Look, man, David Bowie and Han Solo. What?
That was it.
Right.
Yeah.
Space pirate,
Yeah.
Pirate.
And
Space pirate.
And so,
Bowie Solo, which I said you couldn't name the character, so she came up with Calypso Mars.
So then it was in one of the episodes where Calypso was telling Jexa what to do, and Jexa's response was, well, you're not my mom.
Yep.
And afterwards I looked at Calypso. I looked at Lee and I was like, but what if Calypso is Jexa's mom? And Lee was like, I was thinking that
Right,
too.
yeah. We had a moment where we were playing where we were both like feeding brain waves.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so it was just through role play.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment of like, if I'm going to yell at you and I'm going to yell something that I think is the most hurtful thing in the world, well, what if it really was the most hurtful thing in the world?
Mhm.
Because,
It ended up being true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, Yadi, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Yadi wanted to know, does knowing that Jexa is actually Calypso's daughter make her more or less inclined to mother her?
Less.
Less?
Yeah, I think there's a fear there now.
Yeah.
There's embarrassment. Not, I mean, she's made it very clear. She does not regret the decision she's made. She believes that everything that has happened up to this point has been necessary, or I mean, as you know, as Lily said, Calypso is a person who's very accepting of, well, this is how things are, and I can't like dwell on that. But there is kind of like oh, well, this is awkward. Like, there's just she can't really get through that part yet.
One of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite movies is, "I do not regret the things I've done, nor those I did not do." And I feel like that's very much Calypso's
Yeah.
mindset.
Yeah, it is.
Bonus weird point for the chat if anyone figures out that movie. Last one from our last episode, or 2 episodes ago. What made you think to ask Azazel for help against the dragon? What was Calypso's thought process? Also from Yadi. Maybe JD. It could be a hard,
Yeah.
hard J.
oh, that's, I was like, Yadi.
What was this? I think. So actually, a lot of it was inspired by the reflection pool in the
Mm-hmm.
when she kind of just looked down, was like, yeah, I'm gonna burn, and I'm gonna burn forever, and really, there's no going back from that. So let's this person entity has been reasonable in the past, and there's no reason for Calypso to think that they wouldn't be reasonable in the future, because again, Calypso's minor knowledge of, I mean, Calypso does not believe in religion, but Calypso absolutely believes in demons. That doesn't translate to her as in, so a demon exists, so then must an angel exist? Those two don't work with her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a whole other struggle going on somewhere else about that. But she, from her little knowledge of demons, she's very aware that demons are very devout in agreements, and so she went for it, and she was really desperate. And also, I think the realization that what is her family, I mean, found family is incredibly important to her at this point. Jexa is her blood family. Brexton will always be part of her family, whether she wants that or not. And Gregor was also there, and they're dealing with a friggin' dragon. She was just like, all right, whatever, I'm done. Eternal damnation. Dive.
Look, good intentions. I'm just gonna keep following this path.
Yep.
It seems well paved.
Yep.
So this one's from Mark. Do you think that Calypso and Gregor will get married on screen?
If you have it your way, we will literally have Calypso walking down the aisle, and then Jam will be like, and as you were about to say your forever vows, an army of the Inquisition led by Flint. So this is, a big big turnaround, because Flint is actually on the side of Gregor and Calypso. But, backstab, here we go. What do you do? And then that would be, that's where I think it would go.
No. I'm invested in this.
See, and here I was like, no, the moment Calypso says her vows, like, black demonic
Right?
wings sprout from her
Azazel
back.
just
and
like, hey, by the way, I'm in here too, so, just thought you'd want to know in case we want to make it real weird.
it just got weird.
One of the questions was, and when he said The Departed, I assume the people, the question is, the people who died during the Annals of Antioch, the end of the abandoned storyline, was that planned? And no, if that's what you're asking, no. No, that's basically what I have. I was like, they're confronting this thing that has no way of physically being destroyed. Let's see what happens and what they come up with. Going back,
if
what?
anything, I was planning on surviving because I called in for backup to get us out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, let's jump down to. Ooh, okay. This one, I feel like. All right, so a couple for me. Sorry, guys. From what I understand, the authors have been intentionally quiet on the overarching meta for the stars being extinguished and the encroaching evil that imperils all known space. Oh, this is actually for everybody. Are the characters interested in this, or is it so large that no one could hope to fight against it? And then the follow-up is, as a GM, how do you address these things, or do you just use it as a known fact of the sandbox in which you are playing? So with the game being titled Fading Suns and with everything that's going on, are you guys invested in the fact that the stars are going out and you're trying to stop it, or are you just sort of like, it's something that's happened and that feels like it's too big for us to deal with?
Why are you looking at me? Why am I looking at Maddie? Gemma, talk to us about this whole Fading Suns, Beatrice reigniting the stars thing.
Okay, I did not think it would go that far, but if you put a muzzled woman in front of me, we're gonna have words. I don't think Gemma saw herself as orchestrating any of it. I think she just saw herself as a cog in the machine. But again, it's this as she's continued to follow Beatrice, her path has become clearer, more illuminated, one might make a joke. And so she is much more much more invested in the darkness and the sun's going out and standing against that. I don't think she thinks she can actually accomplish anything within it, but she thinks that it's still her job to stand.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
For me, the fact that, I mean, you could run a Fading Suns game without ever interacting with that and just have it as an event in the background. But the fact that the design team put faith as a characteristic on the character sheet meant that it was important to the game. And so hopefully that's coming through in the game that we're running. Ben was like, I think the Oboy's currently in Al Malik's space. They're actually heading towards a planet that is controlled by Al Malik. But basically, I'm going to hold up a picture, JD. I don't think that it's going to come through, but we're going to give it a shot. This is the map of...
Oof.
Yeah, it's really... But you can kind of see it's a jump web. It's the Empire... there's like Imperial space and Barbarian space and Symbiote space that are all linked together. And no one... I don't think... Nothing that I have come across says that one noble house controls a sector of space. It really is much more, well, they control the majority of this planet, but there's also all of these other factions and other noble houses there. It's far more cosmopolitan, I think, is the way I would describe that. All right, question for you guys. So how do you, so this is, I'm gonna ask a little follow-up, but the question is, what is the Fading Suns community like in comparison with other RPGs? The Oh Boy game is definitely female-centric, but I get the feeling from the fandom on Discord that it's a little opposite. Like, you know, that it's still a majority of, I'm assuming from the question, guys in the fandom. So here's my question for you. One, how do you guys feel about having, let's start with, how do you guys feel about having a, you know, a female cast?
Maddie's devious look. I like it. It's different. I mean, it's an unfortunate reality that it's different. I would argue that I think all of us have experienced some kind of gatekeeping throughout our existence in tabletop or nerddom in general. I mean, I got some guy at GameStop grilled me on, like, do you really know about this game? Like, do you really know about Mass Effect? It was specific because I was there pre-ordering Mass Effect 3. And so, like, it's different because, yeah, this happened, real life, and yeah, come at me with everything Mass Effect related, I will tell you exactly what it is. But I like it. I think it's important to help encourage female communities to be like, this is a completely viable, normal thing, and the fact that I have a great time and I don't really recognize that we're a bunch of girls, and then with you, it just,
I'm one of the girls.
one of us. Yes. Yeah, this is girls' night. But yeah, the fact that I don't like see it as girls' night is actually like special in itself. That it's just, this is tabletop gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Alice or Lily, do you have any?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, Maddie and I can go all day, so.
Yeah, you guys have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I had to clamp it.
You know, I don't. I like playing these games with you guys, but I don't really engage with like the community for the games themselves, and so I can't really speak to that. But yeah, I agree with Lee. I think it's important to, you know, have different kinds of games out there and make this, you know, it's not about the fact that we're all women. It's you know, about the fact that we enjoy playing and we play the game we want to.
You don't have to add anything.
There is a vague demonic whispering of your name.
I'm so glad to be back in the studio, and I'm just so glad that I still get to have Lily and Alice on a screen that I'm looking at. Anyway, please continue.
Yeah, no, I agree with what Lily's saying. I've definitely been a lot more active in other online game fandoms than I am in Fading Suns, just because I'm fairly new to the game. So I haven't really interacted with the Fading Suns online community that much. But from what I've seen, everyone's really nice. It's a great community. Everyone's been really supportive as far as I've seen, which is really nice because a lot of other gaming communities are not quite so supportive. I particularly run into that issue with D&D 5e, a lot of just people gatekeeping, like, what are you doing? You're playing D&D? What? But no, the Fading Suns community's been really great, and I think it's a lot of fun to play with like an all-female crew. But I think it would also be fun if there were guys involved. Like, it's definitely a good dynamic, but I don't necessarily think about it all that much. Like, I'm just playing a fun game with my friends, and that's where my focus is, I think.
We also have a lot of male NPCs, so you know, yeah, I don't really like think about it as a bunch of women heroes. There's a bunch of men who are. I mean, Grigor is just as important as Calypso is, for example. So, yeah.
Yeah, Samuel, Lorenzo, and Bessarion are also very important.
Hey man, I just stuck it to my little court. Look, you have a reverse arm over there.
Hashtag dude free.
Right?
Just saying, making it easy.
There was a question actually in the chat related to how would she deal with. I'm sorry, I'm stealing your thunder, but I thought it was a really I wanted an answer. There was a question in the chat. I'm super sorry that I don't know who said it. That said, how would Gemma deal with a love interest, especially a love interest that maybe didn't feel as strongly about religion as she kind of is? See, I thought it was a really good one.
Yeah, I don't have to answer that. I'm just the
I don't think Gemma would know what to do with someone paying her attention. Like, baseline, because she grew up in an order where, you know, you had to trust the person next to you to protect you, to stand up for you, and so that, like, you form really, really deep relationships. Like, if Philosophia ever comes back, squad. But yeah, I don't know, one, if she would ever know what to do if someone tried to flirt with her. I think it would just kind of, like, ping off her armor and the battle buns. And I think if it came down to it, like, she is never going to impose what she believes on someone. Yes, has she been teaching Jexa to meditate? Sure. A 16-year-old needs some focus in their life. 17-year-old needs some focus in their life. But I don't know that it would necessarily be a breaking point, but there would be conversation around it, I think. But I think first off, she would have to recognize that someone was interested, and God bless her. I don't know if she would notice.
No, unless the person wrote something on a bat.
Radiation is a great way to get through
Yeah.
Gemma.
Did you guys have any things you wanted to add about the gaming group, or do we want to jump to the next question? You said you could talk all day about it.
Oh,
so.
yeah. And again, I hope nobody listens to this and is like, oh, these people all only prefer to play with women.
Yeah, no.
Like, not at all. It is fascinating to be an anomaly, I think. Because, again, as everyone has said, it doesn't feel like one when all you're doing is sitting around a table playing with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I've ever done when I've played any game, has been I'm sitting around a table playing with my friends. And yeah, if you start to look at all my groups, sure, it's a lot of women. I have a lot of women friends. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. I have friends. And as for like the gatekeeping, it's obnoxious, it's ridiculous. It's frustrating to hear that maybe people aren't so friendly towards someone who just enjoys the same things as they do. I don't do well with childish behavior, so.
Yeah, I don't call those people gatekeepers. I call them a-holes. So,
I mean, I think we've been really fortunate because we're kind of at the forefront of Fading Sun's reintroduction and revival, and so I don't have a lot of free time because I'm here all the time or online all the time to kind of dig into the community. I've just been very grateful that all of the streams that we have put out, the community that has flocked to our games has been very respectful. I know that I don't always make choices as the tank that make sense to people, but our community has been really supportive, and so I've been very grateful for that. I don't know what it will look like as, you know, the books get in people's hands and the Fading. I'm really hoping there's a resurgence with Fading Suns and it gets back there. I don't know what that community would look like. I hope that it would continue to be supportive and continue to be welcoming, because if you look at the cosm of Fading Suns, I mean, everything is represented. And I think that's the point of the game, is that it's not one person or one thing fighting the darkness. It is the idea that everyone is coming together to fight the darkness. It doesn't matter. Like, Calypso and Gemma can fight the darkness together and believe polar opposite things and live polar opposite lives. So I guess that would be my hope. But huge shout out to everyone who watches our streams and supports us.
I was going to say that.
Thank you for being so supportive of us, for offering advice and not criticizing our choices, because I know that we don't always make the most tactical choices or what others would consider wise, but y'all have been super supportive, so thank you.
So Occam's Razor says, I still need an explanation about this drugged out party on Milan Station before Boom went to station. And an explanation about the llama suit comment from Mark's character Flint. You guys want me to just take this one real quick?
So,
Sure.
point of order, it was a pig, but for whatever reason, llamas stuck.
No.
The llama?
Flint
Oh, Flint was there in a
was
llama
there
suit?
in a llama suit.
Yes.
Okay, great. Jexa petted a pig.
Okay, so we gotta like reel it back to once upon a time. There were multiple people who all happened to converge on this station called Milan. They were all there for
So
various
excited for how you're
reasons.
gonna tell this.
Yeah, I'm
At the some were there for their apprenticeship, some were there in order to steal something, and some were there because that is where their order had sent them to investigate a chapel. Others were there because they were spies and they were about to be all sneaky sneak. The group
Failed at sneaky sneak real fast.
yeah. Some of them failed with their sneaky sneak and with their attacking
Abby's here in spirit.
and stealing of things, and others were just innocently captured and thrown into an elevator and about to cry when she met the tank who saved her. It all came out that at this Chapel of the Silent Lady, this hologram, this saint, had been muzzled by the Orlaton family, House Decados. And it was determined that the way to release her was to unlock something in the core of the station.
Like the comm center.
We needed Orlaton's handprint,
Yes,
I believe.
it's biocoded.
And so there
we
was
needed his hand.
Yes, and so there was talk about whether or not we would just take the hand or we would take the whole person, because Count Orlaton is a very large man, a Jabba the Hutt in person, if you will, and through some attempt again, the sneaking did not work.
Hold on 1 second. Can you do the Orlaton voice just so they know why all of us just go ha ha ha?
Can you even bring that back?
Yes, he can. He did it on Saturday.
Yes, I came to kiss the ring. Yeah, I did that for like 3 weeks
Yeah,
straight.
Alice.
Yeah. I also think I described him with maggoty-like fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He smelled.
Yeah. And so some of us somehow
He was known for his decadent parties.
Yes.
some of us ended up in like an early party because they had been like thrown out of. I don't even remember how I got there. Juxa ended up at one of these parties and was like, "Dude, I'm peacing out because that's like sketchy." But then it was determined that the best way to unlock this thing was to get Orlaton to the thing. To do so required breaking into one of the parties, drugging Orlaton, steering his hover chair back down.
Hover divan.
Hover Devon back down to the core of the ship, place his hand to unlock it. That's the basis of this. At which point, when we had to figure out how are we getting Orlaton down there, Calypso said, "I need 4 things: shoelace."
Because what he would do is he would drug everyone except himself at the party and then watch him dance.
Yeah, because he would have a
He had
thing
like a
on.
respirator. So this one they were all tripping on Joy Evening in animal suits, making weird animal noises. So Team Mom just did one of these, did what needed to be done.
So, yeah. So there's a whole bunch of people tripping. Calypso made her drug bomb.
That also backfired.
Bursted in Orlaton's face, which also backfired on her. So she started tripping as Juxa was able to reprogram the divan and get the device.
Hover divan.
Get the device back down to the core of the station. We were attempted to be stopped by Derek. I don't remember which one of us grabbed Orlaton's hand and placed it on the lock. It unlocked. There was a surge of power. We got all excited, and then the station shut down and fell into a black hole.
Countdown started, and then it just fell
It was
into
fine.
a black hole.
Now remember, that is your assumption. There are conflicting stories that Milan Station may still exist.
We have yet to hear that.
No, you have heard that.
I have not heard that.
I don't remember
I
that.
would have written that down.
It was on Ravenna.
I did not hear that. I would have written it down.
Honestly, I feel like they do need some Milan Station closure. We've just
Are
kind
we
of
kidding? We
ignored
totally
that
will.
festering
PTSD.
wound.
It was Gemma. Gemma slammed his nasty, maggoty hand.
All right, so we've got about 20 minutes left, and so we're not going to get to everyone's questions, and I apologize. I'm trying to pick from the list. So I think we're going to have 2 more rounds of questions, and so these ones are for everyone. And we're going to start with Lily and Alice because I feel like your some of these questions have been specific to the old crew. So we're going to start with you guys. What is your favorite game mechanic? And how would you sell this game to someone? These are from Mark.
Who's the smart guy?
My favorite game mechanic for this game?
Yeah, for this game.
I think I like the opportunity to surge. Just like, and you don't have to be in a fight to do it. Like you can surge and give yourself VP when you need it. Because in other games, like you have possibilities or you have, whatever mechanic you have to re-roll, but I think Surge is helpful in a different way.
And if you had to convince someone that they should play Fading Suns, what would your elevator pitch be for a Fading Suns game?
That's a difficult one. I'm gonna think about that some more. Maybe Alice has an answer.
So in terms of favorite mechanic, I really like how weird points work, and that you can donate them to someone else if you have one that you've just kind of been sitting on and somebody else is making an important role. I like being able to give them to other people. I think it just makes it a lot more of a cooperative feeling. You can kind of just bend fate around somebody else and help them. I really like that mechanic a lot. And as far as like elevator pitch, I don't know, that one's hard. I guess my elevator pitch, or like at least how I've described it to like my roommate when I was trying to explain like what I was doing, was basically it's space pirates, so think Firefly, except better because the world is more developed and you get more of a chance to like be involved.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I've pitched it to people, is like, if you like Firefly, you'll probably love Fading Suns, except Fading Suns is better.
I like it. Lil, do you have anything to add to that pitch?
Yeah, I'm gonna pitch the Vorox to them.
You're gonna start with the Vorox. They have 96,000 legs. And a wolf head. It's just like a giant centipede with a wolf head. All right, for you guys, what's your favorite mechanic in Fading Suns?
I like to interrupt.
Oh, you like the battle order interrupt? I also really like the initiative system. Like I like that sort of dynamic. No, the interrupt is definitely a thing. Jexa and Calypso, or Lee and Becca, what's your favorite mechanic?
I mean, I definitely agree with the surges, the weird points, the interrupt. Like, those are all really fun. I also like that you can use your VP to change your own stats in a way. I can make myself harder to actually hit. I can make my ability to shoot go up. I can make my ability to understand this tech go up. I can look at the things that I'm terrible at, you know, persuading somebody with my personality for some reason is really low. But I can change that in my favor, which is really cool. Instead of like going, well, this is what I rolled, this is as good as it gets. I can only ever get +2 to something. Womp womp.
Yeah.
Gemma has a chance at academia rolls.
Yes.
It does.
My favorite mechanic in this game is probably the way the initiative combat rounds work, because it's not as stale as like D&D, where if you rolled really crappy and you got like a 3, well, and you've got like a party of 5, you're like, all right, well, here's Facebook and TikTok, you know, like the initiative system and how we get to pick and choose who's going, you have to kind of always be ready, and I think that helps keep combat from getting stale, and also keeping your players engaged, especially players who I think, I dare say, are all more roleplay heavy instead of combat heavy. So I know, right?
Go
So weird.
Yeah.
And then how would you guys sell someone on this game?
I'm trying to think if I've had to sell anyone on this game yet.
I mean, essentially, you get to build whatever character you've ever wanted to be, but play it in space. Like, there are so many classes, so many perks, so many, but your character's still valid. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can, like, max out or minimize characters in other systems, I've noticed. And here it's like, the map maker is just as important as the tank, is just as important as the engineer. So, You get to do that, but in space.
Yeah. I think my main sell has always been like, it's like Dune, but with more faith. That's something you've always wanted in a role-playing game. You've got that. So here's one from Ben, and I think I like this one. This may be our last question for the night because we're getting close to 8. You guys have, and we still have like 8 questions left. So we'll save those for the next Q&A. So as players / advertisers for Ulysses, for Fading Suns, how does that affect our role play, our the way we structure things? Is that something that you guys even really consider on a week-to-week basis?
Well,
I would start off the first one saying that's why we're doing a question and answer session. We wouldn't do a Q&A session if we weren't deeply engaged with the chat and you guys were as deeply engaged with this game as we are. Like this is not for us. This is for you guys, like, because we want to continue to build a community around Fading Suns. And I really appreciate everyone in the chat. Like, these names that I'm reading the questions off, these are people that you guys have been around for months, if not years, of this campaign. And it's been just delightful to interact with you guys on a nearly weekly basis for the last 3 years. That's my... Also, I can't swear a lot because JD gives me
I might have
sneak
said
eye.
something earlier and immediately went, oh no.
Don't worry, the castigation will begin as soon as the stream ends.
I know.
Okay.
I expected her to come out and like glare at me after I said it.
We all love JD, and the reason this show looks and sounds as good as it does is because of her.
Yes. I mean, because we're playing and we're all advertisers for Ulysses and not just sitting
Floating around in the
around in your parents' basement. Like, you definitely do attempt a bit more professionalism. You definitely attempt a bit more investment in the story. You don't get on Facebook and TikTok during the game. We gotta sit up.
Oh shoot, I'm doing it. I was sitting here going, I've literally gotten on Facebook in court. So I do not here. I just want to, my
No.
job is litigation.
But so yeah, I mean, it does affect what we do, and I think we stick to our storylines a lot tighter because we are in a studio. It is being streamed to people versus being in the basement and playing just a game with your friends, and you can draw out the storylines and let it meander and stop for a snack break. And
Do you feel like the 2-hour block that we kind of shoot for, the 90-minute to 2-hour block, helps with that?
Oh
'Cause
my
it's
gosh.
so short and focused.
yeah, when we were back before the COVID times, when we were doing the 3-hour with a break, we'd always go home just absolutely exhausted. Once we started doing the 90 minutes, it was like, oh sweet, I like this a lot better.
So Lily and Alice, do you have knowing that this is a sponsored show and that we're doing this on the Ulysses channel, has that changed anything for you as you played? Is that something that hovers over your head, or is that something that you just kind of accepted when we started and doesn't really come into your thoughts after that?
I think I enjoy monitoring the chat when I can. It's not always possible, but I enjoy seeing the engagement from folks, but it doesn't really impact the way that I play.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know I try to forget that I'm on stream when I can, because otherwise I get stage fright, I guess, camera fright, something. So I try to ignore it as much as possible, just because otherwise I'll be tripping over my own words every time I open my mouth.
Oh, I get that feeling. All right, so final question of the night. having rules broadly available, this is from Ben, sometimes make it possible for viewers to debate or question gameplay. Has the fact that Fading Suns rules are only now becoming available to most people freed you from viewer interruptions and rules arguments? Here's the thing. There are people on the Tuesday night stream, the Tor game, who know the game way better than I do. And I love the fact that I can be like, oh, that's a good question, Maddie. Chat, what do you think? And within like 10 seconds, I have, if not an official answer from Greg, which I greatly appreciate you, Greg, I have people who are like diehard fans of the game who are like, ooh, did you remember this? Don't forget this. Make sure that you hit Lady Salvo with a bunch of tricks and taunts. And so I personally love having what I consider a cadre in the chat who are able to give me advice and be kind of my rules gurus. Because I read Torg a lot, I read Fading Suns a lot. I'm constantly going back to the rules to dig into them, but I never want to stop the game, especially on stream, to pause and pick up a rule book and find the most incredibly factual, accurate rule. So I love the fact that I can make a ruling at the table, and yeah, there are times where the chat on Tuesday will say, oh, hey, by the way, you did that rule wrong. It's never in condemnation. It's always in a, hey, next time you do this, keep this in mind. And I appreciate that because, as we talked about on Tuesday, I run like
A lot.
5 games a week at least.
No, 5.
Yeah. Tuesday, Wednesday,
more.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
But you're doing an extra playtesting on Thursday.
Oh, man, that's true. So I am running 6
You are
games a week.
doing
7 games a week. 6 games a week.
There's another. I feel like there's another one.
A lot.
I'm a crazy person, and I try to keep all of these things in my head, and eventually they're going to push out, unimportant things like my childhood phone number and Zane's middle name. I'm just kidding, Zane. Zane is in the studio tonight, hanging out with us while we do this. Have you? And I think Maddie spoke. She touched on this earlier. You guys have always in the chat in the community been super respectful of the choices and the gameplay that we do here. We definitely do not run what I would consider, I don't want to say a typical Fading Suns game, because this is the only Fading Suns game I run.
You've run another one. The Annals of
Anthem.
Antioch.
Oh yeah, but I consider that one long
Oh.
story arc.
Okay.
But like even the Annals of Antioch were probably closer to what a typical Fading Suns game would be. There was a lot more. It was more like 60% combat, 40% investigation and role playing, where you guys are really more like
80-20.
80% role playing and investigation. And okay, I guess we'll put some bullets in people just so we can get to the next.
It got to the point where I just, cause at home with the streaming, I wouldn't even get my dice box open. I was just like, there's no way.
Oh look, dragon!
And then some of the dragon, you just saw me fly off.
Whereas the Tor game is the complete opposite, because there's always a card that causes combat, and it's like, all right.
I mean, yay.
So, let me just say this. I know I say this often, but I adore playing with all 5 of you. This is one of the highlights of my week. Really enjoy running this game. I love all of the characters. I love all of your investment. Somebody in the chat commented that we have had multiple people crying multiple times on stream because of events that have happened, which just shows how invested people are. We've also had people in the chat tearing up. You know who you are.
We won't expose you.
Mark.
Well.
So, apparently. And so Bubasti BR just said the system and the scenario are just like a recipe and ingredients. The GM is the chef, but everyone has their own unique touch and flavor, and I completely agree with that. You've seen multiple people running Fading Suns on this stream. Like Lee has run games, Becca has run games. Mark's run Dark Eye. I don't think Mark ran Fading Suns on our stream, but you can go check out the Ulysses International YouTube channel. See how I segued there? Because I believe Mark's Fading Suns game that he ran for a con recently is available. Don't quote me on that. I am just making a wild statement that I have not actually done any research on. But that brings us to the end of this question and
Sounds
answer.
awful
All of the
this
questions
day.
have been saved in a document, so the next time we do one of these, I promise we will continue with those questions and then start off with some new ones. So thank you to everyone who submitted a question. Chat, thank you as always. You are just a delight to have and engage with as I'm running the game. You keep the game fresh and interesting for me, as well as for I think everybody here. Before people were getting on chat or to watch the chat during the game, as soon as we got off stream, everyone would get up and run to the producer booth.
Yep.
JD would scroll back up and we would all read through like 3 hours of chat comments in like the space of 10 minutes. So know that we adore you guys and we are very grateful for everything that you do and just the fact that you show up and engage with us. So, check out all of the other great shows on the Ulysses International channel. Ulysses Worlds went live today. They had some new information. There was a new Heretical Musing that went live, which is the show about Fading Suns by the people who created the current edition. You can find shows on the Ulysses International channel about Fading Suns and Torg and Darkeye and Aventuria, the card game featured. Nope. Here. As well as Myth, Tales of Legend, the upcoming role-playing game, and Myth Dawn of Heroes, which is the new Myth board game. If you like Ulysses, if you like what they do, please subscribe here on Twitch or follow them on YouTube, follow them on social media. If you like us, please jump over to the Iconic channel on Mondays and Fridays. We do our very best to never interfere with the games we are running on the Ulysses stream. Becca on Monday runs our Call of Cthulhu game, Horror on the Orient Express, which Lee plays in. And then
Oh, I
on Friday
do.
nights, we have a 5th edition D&D game run by Josh called It Gets Worse, which it does. It is the most honest D&D campaign name ever. You can follow us on Twitch, you can follow us on YouTube, you can find us on Patreon. We just, the more you guys interact with us, the more we're able to interact with you and the internet at large. So, again, thank you so much. Thank you to Ulysses for getting us this amazing studio to run their games. Thank you to JD for being the best producer in the business, as well as to our moderators, Rook and Phantom. And thank you to my wonderful crew. This game would not be 90% as good as it is without them. So, I am JM, your GM. This is the crew of the Oh Boy. When we come back, we will be, in a week, we will be back to the story of the Oh Boy, who have just landed on Criticorum, and are about to start a new arc of adventures in Fading Suns. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. I am JM, the GM, and I will see you all on Tuesday for Torg and in a week for more Fading Suns. Have a good one.
Every time.
Really